This is how you plan for the winters that are coming and maintain your energy, your effort, and a positive attitude. First, you need to prepare. That's vision, values, victories. Stack those wins. Be aware of devices, the environment, the surroundings, the things that you know work. And you're doing it consistently. You're pressing, even when you're winning, especially when you're winning.
Press requires from us our attention, consistent effort, and it requires from us to really push in the areas that we really are probably more comfortable in. Right? So if you're working out right now and you're comfortable with what you're doing with your current programming, then now is the time to really dial that up. Right? At some point, you're going to turn 40 and start to feel things a little bit more than you used to. So to prepare now is to really push the envelope of what you think you're capable of.
Physical strength, but that is the one area that you really have full control over.
Absolutely. Quit stuffing pie in your little mouth hole and get up and move your body. I realize we all have heretical things that can happen, but regardless of the cards you've been dealt, you can move your body.
This is the High Value Man Conversation Podcast, a show dedicated to the mission of building high value men. One great man means a great family, a great neighborhood, a better city, community, state, and the world. The question is, if not you, then who?
Winter is coming. Welcome back to the High Value Man Conversation. This is episode 29, and winter is coming. We're in October. It's almost the end of the month, and there's a little chill in the air, which lets us know that within another month or maybe 2 months, it's going to be cold.
Yeah, winter shifted in Texas, and so I know a lot of our guys are all over the U.S., and so they can hear us talk about winter in Texas and kind of giggle. Listen, we celebrate it because we've got 100-degree weather. For 9 months out of the year, we sweat when we leave the house. It's just a normal thing. Yep. So when we get any sort of cold front, and it looks to be a consistent cold front like we've got ahead of us. Starting today, I walked out and it was 49 degrees. I went, man, this is awesome.
It's refreshing.
It is refreshing, but it is. It's a forecast of what's ahead of us, that winter is actually coming.
Yep.
And it's very exciting as a Texan. But as we lean into our conversation today, we want to think about this more from a metaphorical standpoint of, although literally winter's around the corner, that as we live our life, because winters are cyclical, that in our life, we just need to expect that winter's coming.
It's always coming. And when you think about winter in other parts of the country, they are shoveling snow off their driveways. They've got their car plugged into a heater so the engine block doesn't freeze. They've got 10 layers of clothing on, all of that. But winter is the time, typically, that hopefully the rest of the season you have prepared well. You've got the storehouses filled. You got enough food in the pantry. You have everything you need so that you can withstand the winter. But the idea that winter is coming is the idea and a mindset that you as a high value man need to always be prepared for the cold front that is ahead.
Yeah, because it's coming. That's what the beautiful thing, we hear this often in our sphere, Aaron, but that there's always a supernatural correlation compared to everything in the natural. Right. So in the natural, we have these cyclical seasons. We got spring, summer, fall, and winter, and we get these in that order every single year. And isn't it funny how in the natural, that in our lives and our finance and with our bodies, our physiques, with our relationships, and even spiritually, that we do continually experience the same types of seasons in that order. So that's really what we're going to land on today, is that regardless of where you are when you listen to this, that literally for us, winter is coming. But for a lot of us as men, we've experienced a nice spring or a nice summer or a nice fall in our business, in our finances, in our marriages, in our relationship with our kids. But as things continue to evolve, that there's a winter coming, and what we need to do to be aware of that winter, to prepare for that winter, and to make sure that we're successful in that winter so that we don't, get snuffed out by the cold.
True. Because if you're preparing for winter, you're in survival mode, right? So if you are, and if we just play with this comparison a little bit, let's say you have a mountain home and you are away from civilization, and if you have not prepared carefully during the other seasons, you don't have enough food, you don't have enough water up there, you're in survival mode. You're making desperate decisions. And how many men make desperate decisions because they find themselves in the winter and they just don't know what to do? And so the idea behind this is that it's always going to be cyclical. So if you're in that summertime and it's breezy, you feel good, business is going well, relationship is great, just know that around the corner, winter is coming, and that this too will pass.
Yeah, for sure. And here's a gross, very, in my opinion, gross and disturbing type statistic, but leans on what you're talking about, how a lot of men will wait till winter to prepare, and how it doesn't work out well for them. Is the average couple in the midst of, so the average married couple that has issues or conflicts in their marriage waits 7 years in that sludge before they seek help, right? And so they wait 7 years before they're willing to reach out and ask for help. And at that point, for a lot of people, it's too late, right? So that's a winter that hits them. And so for us to get out in front of it and prepare is to, seek counsel, get around great community, do the things now that you need to, so that not if, but when that winter shows up, that you're prepared for it. You're not stuck, filing divorce papers because you haven't done the work.
Yeah, it's good. So what does it look like as we prepare for the winters in our faith, our fitness, our family, and our finances?
I love that. So what we do is one, we all know that winter is cold. We all know that there's very little growth, very little movement in the wintertime because it is so cold. For I have a buddy that lived in Minot, North Dakota. And so to go outside, to drive his vehicle, like you said, it had to be plugged in, had to be staying, because otherwise the engine block will freeze. They have sub-zero temperatures for months at a time, so you've got to like really dress up just to go outside, just to go to the grocery store, just to go to work. It takes a lot of preparation. But in wintertime, most people get a lot more pessimistic. You'll see them get a lot more reserved. This is when people are the most fearful, right? Because they don't know. We have a need for certainty on some fluid scale, so we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know how long winter is going to be, how long this situation is going to.
Fear starts to creep in.
Going to be on our plate.
Yep.
And so often most people will quit during wintertime. You see businesses go under. You see marriages go under. You see relationships come to a close because it got difficult and we didn't know what to do. We didn't prepare for it. But what I love about winter is that you have an opportunity in winter to say it this way: winter fosters grit. Grit is one of the key components that it takes for any man to get down the road and truly step into his purpose. You've got to embrace the difficulty. I love leading it on, even on the Spartan way, the Spartan culture of at 7 years old, a young boy goes into the agoge. He goes into training, right? Because it's at some point there will be war and we need you prepared. That was their winter. So they got their agoge going early. And so that just really taught young boys to understand what
grit's
grit
powerful
is.
too, because grit is the key determining factor that will make you successful through all the upcoming challenges, obstacles, and winters. So you think about from a business standpoint, if you're in a winter financially, you're struggling to make ends meet. Maybe you experience some global shutdown, economy crisis, whatever it is.
Ports closing,
all the stuff that's happening inside the market. You as a business owner, your job is to innovate and implement, especially in the winter. If you decide just to take whatever's in front of you, you will be one of the many businesses that shut down on a daily basis simply because you don't have the grit. And so recognize if you're in the winter season, like this is your time to really, really double down on the vision, the values, the victories you can stack so you can prepare yourself for the spring.
Exactly. So we also know that when it's summertime, when it's springtime, when it's summertime, when it's fall, this is typically when life is going your way. Whether it's the marketplace, whether it's in your marriage, with your kids. Like right now, I've got kiddos that are 5 and 5 months. And so right now I'm in a springtime season where being with my kids, raising my kids are very easy. When my children are in their teenage years and going off to find their vocation in life, that'll be a different season. We will likely experience winters with our children. Now, we have in place doing things now consistently so that those winters are very short and brief. And that comes down to our core values and what we do as a family. But those winters are coming, and I know that, so I need to be aware of that. So the big key here is we've got 3 things that we can do to really help us get into, through, and out of a winter. And the first one is prepare. So to prepare, if you need visuals on how to prepare, this is when you create your vision. So if it's springtime for you, if it's summertime for you, when life is going your way, this is the easiest and most convenient time to actually create a vision for your life. See where you're going to be 10 years down the road. See where your family is going to be and how it's going to look, how your marriage can look. So you have the ability and the opportunity to really cast vision on what can be, to create the ideal version of yourself as a man, ideal marriage, ideal relationship with your kids, your ideal friendship group, and your ideal business and financial situation. So vision is a key part of preparing. You also have the ability, when it's easy, to really hone in on your values.
So good.
If you don't know what you value in your life, Aaron, our guys can really we can pull up their schedules. If you show me your schedule, I'll tell you what you value most. For a lot of men, it's going to work. For some men, it's working out. For some men, that could be time in the garage. It could be, hey, I got a game on Saturdays and Sundays that I focus on. Whatever it may be, I can show you your values if you'll show me your schedule.
That's good.
Another way to prepare is to stack victories, to be aware of things to be grateful for. We have so many. If you live in America, you live in the greatest country that's ever existed, regardless of the current political season. Right? So we have an ability to be grateful. And the only thing you're really going to be grateful for is if you have the eyes to see and understand and recognize the true victories in your life. Right? I've got breath in my lungs. I'm lucky that I don't have any health issues. I have an amazing marriage. I've got children I can love. I've got great friends in my life. I'm stacking victories in the business world. And so all of these things are things to be grateful for, and they're going to prepare me for an upcoming season that'll shift to winter. And I can stand on those.
That's good.
So becoming highly aware also of our own vices. When life is going better, when life is easier, it's a more convenient time to stop, freeze frame your life, and see what vices you're delving into.
That's good.
Spending too much time watching games, as far as I'm concerned, casually using alcohol, casually clicking the button, maybe casually taking prescription drugs that you don't need to be taking anymore. These are all vices that can take a man down the wrong rabbit hole. And sin always takes us further down the road than we ever intend for it to go.
Good. Yep.
But during your spring, your summer, and your fall, it's the easiest to stop and prepare for the winter that you know is coming. Because if you're over the age of 25, you've experienced the winter.
Yep.
But to prepare for those things through understanding and creating your vision, understanding and being intentional with your values, stacking and being aware of the victories and things you can be grateful for, and then also being highly aware of your vices.
Does this sound familiar, guys? Vision, values, victories, vices. And this is the voice of reason inside your life, the fifth V, which is if you have that winter pessimistic, negative mindset, says, I'm not going to make it, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, start leaning into circles like this where we get to pour into, because you got three voices in your head. You got the critic, you got the coach, you got the champion. Critic is that winter voice that so many people listen to. They end up quitting, throwing in the towel and just saying, you know what? I'm already dying. The trees have lost their leaves, and I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to plan and prepare. Well, the coach says, well, if I've gotten through winters, so can you. And so you start leaning into your podcast, the coaching, the networks around you, the great friendships, so that you can unlock that champion voice. That's the fifth part, the voice, so that you can ultimately live your vocation. 6V of the high value man 6V formula. Beautifully said, Josh. Love that.
Love it. So number one is to prepare. You have to understand as a man, you have to prepare. Any man that's not prepared for the upcoming season has prepared to fail when the season comes. So either prepare now or prepare to fail, you decide. Number two is going to be press. Press is our opportunity to really lean into what we know to do. Press requires from us our attention. It requires from us consistent effort, and it requires from us to really push in the areas that we really are probably more comfortable in. Right? So if you're working out right now and you're comfortable with what you're doing with your current programming, then now is the time to really dial that up. Right? At some point you're going to turn 40 and start to feel things a little bit more than you used to. At some point, you're going to turn 60 and you're not going to be able to have the same mobility that you probably had before. Doesn't mean you won't have the same muscle mass. At some point, you're going to turn 80 and things will get a little more difficult getting in and out of your sports car or your big truck. So to prepare now is to really push the envelope of what you think you're capable of. That's your press. Through creating consistency, through building community, all these require effort. That doesn't just happen. You don't just find yourself in a great community. You got to go find it and build it. Also, this is your time to lean into coaching and counsel. You can be like the normal couple, like I mentioned before, that gets to wintertime, is in the midst of winter for 7 years, on the verge of losing everything, and decide, oh, now we need counsel. No.
This is the guy in wintertime that's trying to prepare. He's in survival mode, making desperate decisions.
Yeah. This is the guy where war is headed your way. The other tribe is coming to kill your tribe. And you go, oh, maybe I should swing this sword. Maybe I should sharpen it. Maybe I should try to figure out how to use it.
Maybe I should get a sword.
Maybe I should get a sword. Will somebody teach me, even though they're showing up tomorrow? It's too late. Not that you can't persevere through some of those difficult seasons, but if you wait till that point, it'll be 100x more difficult, require 100x more of your effort, and you'll lose so much of yourself if you wait to prepare in wintertime. You just can't do it. So number two is to press, to do what you know to do.
and then do it consistently. We were talking about this offline, and I think so many salespeople run into this, where they have a good, strong spring, summer, fall season. They've got a great harvest. They start something new. They're highly energized, excited. They make their first 100 grand. They're doing really well, and then they take their foot off the gas, and they forget that winter is right around the corner, and so they stop doing the things that worked in the beginning, the minimum viable effort. So they stop knocking on doors. They stop nurturing their pipeline. They stop doing the personal development. They stop listening to podcasts. They stop doing the extra mile, and then all of a sudden winter is 10 times worse. Same thing for the guys that pursued and romanced and dated their woman in the beginning, and then 5 years into the relationship, they're wondering, where's the fire? Why did she just serve me divorce papers? What's going on?
Didn't see that coming.
Knucklehead.
Yeah, because you've had your eyes other places. I love that you said that. As a former roofer, I've experienced this, that 90% of roofers live the life that you just talked about. We live in Dallas, so we get these little ice rocks that fall from the sky called hail. And so we typically have good hail seasons in the springtime and in the fall, actually. And roofers go they go straight into feast mode. You have guys that, made 40 or 50,000 a year that are now making 150, 250,000 a year over the course of maybe 6 months. And they gobble it up. They go buy the big truck, they buy the boat, they take the vacations, they buy the nicer clothes they couldn't afford before. So you have all this group of guys who are very successful during a short point of the year. And then you have them, they go from feast in the summertime till, again, 99% of roofers are in absolute famine from November to February. They can't pay their credit cards. They can't pay their mortgages. Cars are their trucks are getting picked up by the repo man. Like all these things hit. And the crazy thing is it happens every single year. These same guys go through the same difficulties every single year because they don't choose to be focused on the seed, right? The fruit can come easy during springtime, summertime, and fall time. And being an American, a lot of our fruit is GMO'd, which means they breed the seeds out of it. And we can so easily, Aaron, in our life be focused on, man, life is going well, fruit's flowing, my marriage is good, my kids are okay, my finances are rolling in easy, the sales gig's rolling for me. And we forget that there's supposed to be a seed inside of that, right? So if we gobble up the fruit and throw the seed in the trash, then we forget what we're supposed to be sowing during wintertime. And preparing for the upcoming year. So be very mindful of the good things that you have in your life. Don't just gobble up your own fruit. Don't just eat what you have right in front of you, but prepare for a winter that's coming. So set aside the money that you need to prepare. I don't know what the average numbers are, but 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand in your savings account is not a bad thing to have. Also make your investments now, right? The market will always shift. But there's a given 8 to 10% return across the board for folks that invest. So if you've never done that, now's the time to invest. Regardless of what the season looks like financially, get in the investing marketplace. But do it now. Don't wait till it's wintertime. If you wait till it's wintertime, you'll have nothing to invest, right? So it's just a great thing to be aware of and to press into those items.
Love that.
Last one we have, so we talked about prepare. We talked about press. Do what you need to do. The last thing that we really need to hone in on as men is how to hold fast.
That's good.
How to hold fast. What I like about this from a naval perspective, if you've ever been on a old school type clipper ship, holding fast doesn't mean, hey, the storm's coming, there's big waves, everyone grab a rail and hold on. Hold fast means in the midst of the storm, you are continually having to retighten down your sails.
Maintain the trajectory.
You're actually having to hold fast to the direction you're going in, not hold fast to the vessel. Right. So as we enter a literal wintertime, and depending on how the political election works this year, we're going to have to hold fast to what we're doing, and that's in the financial market. But hold fast is to remember that there's seed inside that fruit that you're going to need for wintertime.
That's good.
Great marriages are great fruit, but again, remember the seed. Aaron, you talked about it. The same amount of effort that you took and romance that it took in your dating, engagement, and honeymoon phase of your relationship is what you're going to have to sow, if not more, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. And that's you holding fast
to the direction that you
said you want to go in.
Yep. It's good. So good. 3 points, guys, write that down. This is how you plan for the winters that are coming and maintain your energy, your effort, and a positive attitude, first you need to prepare. That's vision, values, victories. Stack those wins. Be aware of devices. You're pressing into the group, the environment, the surroundings, the things that you know work, and you're doing it consistently. You're pressing, even when you're winning, especially when you're winning. And you're holding fast through that winter season to the direction and the vision that you said is important.
Very important, very important. You talked about, and these are the hows. So for men that you want to be successful, you have a need to be respected, and you're going to have to be successful in these areas of your life. Mm-hmm. How does that happen? One, that's having great awareness, right? Quit living a life where you allow blind spots to live in your life. The reason they're called blind spots, Aaron, is because you can't see them. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to take the complaints that your wife is giving you and not be offended by it. Allow her to see your blind spots, because I guarantee you she exposes them to you on a regular basis, and you choose to get offended.
And have men in your life that will do the exact same thing.
That's number two. Number two is your community. Your community, if you're around a great community that challenges you, that forces you to grow, that helps you to expose and spend time thinking about your own philosophies, the way that you think, then at some point you're going to be challenged. They're going to make aware to you your own blind spots, things that you need to change in your life for the better. So this is a big piece of awareness that is partnered with, married to, and required to do life with your attitude and your effort, which we've done podcasts on before. You can go back and listen. But these are the two things that I truly believe we actually have control over. Can't control anything in our life outside of these two things. Our awareness is tied to our attitude, because our attitude is two parts: what we do with what we think and how we feel. Your attitude is what you do with what you think and how you feel. Half of our brain is logic, half of our brain is emotion, right? Just because you have a thought or just because you have a feeling, those aren't things you can control. They're going to pop up. It's what you choose to do with it.
That's good.
Right? It's what you choose to do with it. So even when thoughts are difficult or emotions are heavy, if you choose to have a positive attitude, then you have an opportunity, right? You're not being, your vessel, your ship is not being dictated by the current and by the weather, which is, again, difficult thoughts and
environment,
tough emotions, all of that.
Yeah.
So controlling your attitude and the effort is the amount of energy and action that you're willing to put to that positive attitude.
That's good.
So be highly aware of your awareness, and get around people. Allow your spouse to expose your blind spots. Allow your community to expose your blind spots without feeling critical about them, and then choose to have a positive attitude and put maximum effort.
That's good.
Is a great piece.
Yep. And that's a hard part for a lot of guys to hear. So I want you guys to really land on this. If you don't get the feedback on your blind spots of what's not working, when that winter is on your doorstep and you choose not to listen to your friends, your families, those around you, they will suffer just as bad as you suffer, if not worse. And so the beauty behind being a part of a group, a tribe, and actually having the thick skin to be able to receive healthy feedback from those that care about you the most means that you can properly plan, prepare, have the right awareness, the right attitude, and the right effort as you step into future seasons.
Absolutely. And I love that discipline in secret creates victories in public.
It's good.
In wintertime, we have the opportunity. So this metaphorical winter that we experience is a great time for you to exercise with grit the disciplines that you put in place during springtime, summertime, and fall. So again, discipline in secret creates the victories we have in public. And then the last thing I'll give you is what we talked about with consistency. But in my opinion, the rarest masculine quality in the world is consistency. It's something that men have the ability to create, that not that women can't be consistent, but men really have the ability to create consistency in themselves, consistency in their marketplace, and consistency in their homes with their children. So it's the rarest of masculine qualities, because so many men just choose to quit.
Love that, man. So powerful. Stings a little bit.
It should.
It's good. Winter. If it's on the doorstep right now, this is a tactical and practical episode for you to check in on yourself. If you don't have the fruit in your faith, your fitness, your family, or your finances, you're experiencing a winter. If you don't have bounty and springful energy, vitality, excitement, abundance, prosperity, all of those things across those domains, if you don't feel deeply connected to God and the voice and hearing that internal champion voice, If your wife doesn't respect you, your kids don't look up to you, you're having a hard time leading the household, that's a winter season. If your finances, if you look at your bank account before you pay for gas because you don't know if you're going to be able to cover it, like that's a winter season. If your fitness, and by the way, we got to talk about fitness for a second. If you're waking up in the morning, you're achy, you're sore, you don't have the energy to keep up the kids, you're exhausted walking up a flight of stairs, like that is a physical winter. Fitness, I think, is the one you should never experience winter.
It's true.
There's no reason that you should allow yourself to experience a winter because you have the ability to control your effort physically on a daily basis with the consistency, and that will prepare you for maybe a potential sickness or someone actually requiring your physical strength. But that is the one area that you really, really have full control over.
Absolutely. And mastery begins where sabotage ends. So if you're in a season of physical winter, you've sabotaged yourself. You need to be more aware of what you put in your mouth, right? Quit stuffing pie in your little mouth hole and get up and move your body, regardless of your age. I don't care if you're 20 or if you're 70. Yeah. Right? If you're feeling like all the things that Aaron talked about, the only person you can blame is yourself. I realize we all have heretical things that can happen. We all have biochemical and just physical things that can show up in our bodies. But regardless of the cards you've been dealt, you can move your body.
Sure. Yeah. And I would even challenge that. I think there's so much study behind the epigenetics and our ability to influence our genes with our lifestyle, environment, and the right things. So I think that's a lazy way of looking at it.
I do. Yep. You have the privilege to move your body. You have the privilege to challenge your physique. And privilege, my friends, is the consequence of decision and consistency.
Let's go. Let's wrap up with just their how.
Okay.
Tactical how. First step, if they're experiencing winter or they're in the springtime, what's the first thing they need to do?
First thing is just to become aware, right? You can't hit what you can't see. You can't manage what you can't see. So be highly aware of what's great in your life. Be grateful for it, but also allow your awareness to be challenged again by your spouse and by your community.
That's good.
Awareness is key. Tethered to that is our attitude and our effort. You have the opportunity to choose a positive attitude and to put effort regardless of what you think or how you feel, right? You get to choose how you show up.
That's good.
So those two are huge. In those, you can then lean on what we gave you earlier. Preparing well. Pressing, and then holding steadfast to the man you said you want to become, to the marriage you say that you want to have, to the children that you say you want to raise, and to the finances and marketplace that you say you want to win in.
That's good.
Hold fast, steadfast.
That's good.
And then lastly, if you're a high-value man, if you call yourself a high-value man, or if you want to be a high-value man, HVM men don't quit.
Let's go.
Don't quit, which means you don't take winter off. Everyone else wants to stay inside next to the fire and eat s'mores and feed on what they made. You keep knocking doors. You keep making the phone calls. You keep getting outside and running when everyone thinks, oh, who's that psycho running when it's 25 degrees outside? It's a high-value man. Keep dating your wife even when things are good and it's not convenient. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Keep doing it. Keep being present with your children. Right? Don't come home and give leftovers. A high-value man digs deep and is present. He is patient and he is kind. We don't raise nice men in this community. Nice men are freaking weak. We raise men who are kind, which is a conscious choice.
Let's go.
So you don't take winters off, and harvest is not
this
forever.
too shall pass.
You may be preparing for winter, but the cool thing about every single winter, Aaron, is it's followed by spring, which is followed by summer. So choose your grit. Choose to be highly aware. Have a positive attitude. Put massive effort behind it. And no matter what the cards in front of you are showing you, I don't care what the hand you're holding says, if you choose grit and you choose these things, spring comes after winter every time. Don't
quit. Don't quit when it gets cold.
Don't be a loser. Losers quit. Everyone fails, but losers quit.
Amen. I love that. Boom. Winter is coming, and if you are in a winter season, spring, summer, or fall, do yourself a big favor and reinforce your preparation, your planning, and your holding fast by getting a part of a tribe of men that will support you on your journey to become a high-value man. Learn about our 6V formula: vision, values, victories, vice, voice, and vocation. We give you the blueprint, the template, the support, the community, weekly group calls, everything you need. And all you got to do is just click the link somewhere around this episode. Join us on the other side. Let us support you, love you up, and challenge the F out of you so that you are aware of your blind spots so you can put the right attitude and effort forward.
I love it. Success leaves templates.
Boom. Much love. Many blessings. We'll talk to you guys soon.
off the podcast, get back to the fucking mental lab.